Hello.
Mike, it's Edward. How are you?
I'm okay, Edward. How are you?
I'm fine. Did I get into your dinner time?
I just finished eating.
All right, I'll make it very quick. Sorry to call during dinner time.
Okay.
I will get back to you tomorrow. I haven't had a chance to review the, your draft you sent me earlier today.
Okay.
Like I said, I've been really busy, but I didn't want you to think I wasn't getting to you. And
No. I think you told me yesterday, Edward, that today was not a very good day for you. So I just assumed that it in fact wasn't. So not a problem at all. I will be around. I have to be in court at 1:30 tomorrow, so I've got to meet a client at about 12:30. But up to that time, I will be at this number and available.
All right. I'll either call you before, in the morning, or I'll call you later in the afternoon. I think that in terms of your questions, we can pretty much do, along the lines of what you think, and whether. In terms of giving notice on the injunctive relief, I'm going to lean more towards your thoughts of it. I mean, I tend to be a little more on the conservative side with those things. I hate to have a court turn me down. So, we'll talk about it a little more tomorrow. But that's one answer.
It sounds like the at least the word that I've been getting is that the courts kind of hunt for reasons to turn you down. The thing is, it sounds to me like just about all the receivables go through Elizabeth.
Well, about all the advertising what she does, she literally, when advertising is arranged, she puts them on the. Am I interfering with dinner? I mean, I can answer your questions.
Not at all.
Right.
Go right ahead.
She puts them on a credit card, on the customer's credit card. So they're charged out immediately, and they go into, the company's, coffers. It gets collected against the credit card, the merchant card file. But she doesn't have access to the funds per se. But if it weren't for her, they wouldn't have the, the money coming in either.
They wouldn't have funds. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Well, I'll just give that a good thought. And I'll be around tomorrow in the morning, and then I'm trying to think how late the court will keep us in the afternoon. I've got to believe the judge will want to be out of there around 3:30 at the latest. So I should be back here around 3:30 at the latest.
And actually, I'm just waiting right now to hear back from the dealership. I mean, I'm like almost there. So.
The car. Yes.
Yeah. It's been a long day, and it's always annoying, as you know.
Of course it is.
But
I think it may be supposed to be.
Otherwise,
it always is annoying.
So, my plan is to head over there. We're going to have dinner shortly, and then I'm going to probably go over there about 7. But I'm sorry. What, Liz? Yes. But anyway, I'm waiting for the guy to call me back. There's the usual glitch or two, but we're mighty close. But it has to be done tonight because of this rebate I mentioned to you yesterday. So that's where I'm standing there. So anyway, as far as including Scott, in the petition, I think, even clearly, and Liz and I talked about it for a while this afternoon. I think she's okay with that now, right, Liz? Actually, Liz has come a long way. She said, I think I have to do that to protect myself. So
I couldn't agree with her more. And relative to the idea of being asked by the court, why haven't you given notice to Scott? We'll say, well, I don't know, he's in Santa Fe, he may be in Coeur d'Alene, he could be in Montana, he could be anywhere. Well, does he have a computer? Are you able to email him? That's kind of the thing that really seems to be eating into the no notice thing is the old idea that you had to do it by regular mail or by a courier. Now you've got fax machines, email, of course the phone, And so the courts are just getting tighter and tighter and tighter, and they don't want to do something and then see that they have to undo it later. Oh, it's something to think about. It's something to think about. We'll think about it. We'll come up with a definitive answer and go with it.
Okay, and even though Scott doesn't always respond to text messages or emails, and I don't know if you're a texter, but and I'm not much of,
No.
I do it because Liz does it and because my nieces do it and a few other people, but I'm not a fan. But the reason I mention it is that Liz's family is all on a family plan and they're all iPhone based. But what happens is that when you send a text, it will show up when it'll say delivered. So you have the ability to print that out to show it's delivered, which means he will have opened it and read it, which is more difficult to do with email. You have to be using certain email programs to do it, and they're a lot less prevalent than they used to be when email was more in its infancy and everyone is using the same thing.
Well, so, even giving the notice, the notice is done on the shortest term possible. And number one, it makes the court happy. That's a definite plus. Yep. And secondly, it's got them scrambling to get somebody to represent them, because either they're in court or they're not. I mean, if you go up to the judge and say, "We've given them the notice," are they here? No, they're not here. They're not here. Here's the proof that we served them this way, that way. Well, I guess they're not going to show up. Let's go ahead. Right.
And I that's the way I see it, and that's the way I was explaining it to Liz this afternoon. So, I like that. Like I said, I'm a little more on the conservative side. You don't want to, like you said yourself originally, you don't want to piss off the court, and you don't want to.
Absolutely not. It's unfortunate, but judges really want you to make things as easy as possible for them.
And the other thing and that's certainly understandable. The other thing that Liz said is that whatever we do, whatever happens, when Michael learns of the petition itself, as Liz says, he could really go ballistic and go nuts. And even though he's not as insane as Scott, he's not so good either.
Right.
So
the plus that's here is, at least it seems to me, is that we're not talking about any cash transaction. The old classic case where the husband has got a home remodeling business or a saloon or a restaurant or something like that. We're taking a lot of cash, and boy, that can just disappear quick as you can blink your eyes. But it seems to me that everything that's going to be done in this situation is done on paper. If there's an account with Liz's name on it, it's entirely appropriate for her to act defensively and to take the money out of that account and put it in an account in her own name and be able to account for it. So, yes, I closed that account that had $10,000 in it, and I opened up account such and such at the bank in my name because I had to protect myself. The money is still there.
Well, we did that when we discontinued the online access last week.
Oh, right. Again, but I mean, if there's more like that.
No, not really. That's pretty much it. The only other thing is this issue where Liz hasn't been paid the salary she should have been paid, and supposedly, Scott has told Michael that Scott has paid Liz, so we have to decide at what point does Liz send a text to Michael saying, in light of the email you sent me last Friday, when I haven't been paid and I need to be paid, and when's that going to happen? So do we wait until we get this filed, or do we do it this way, in the next couple days, with the concept that we're going to be filing soon? So that's another.
Let me give that a thought at least this evening. I'll have something to say on it tomorrow. Very, very definitely something needs to be done. It's either before or it's after. Right. I wouldn't be at all surprised that Michael is going to come back and say, I've been taking care of this bill, that bill, the other bill. In fact, that's true. And they add up, and that's the way I've been dishing out your salary to you.
Okay, well,
you would have had to pay those bills anyway with the salary I gave you, so I just cut out the middleman and paid the bills directly.
Well, but the idea is that he was going to pay the bills and give her the $25,000 a year salary.
Of course.
For the Social Security.
I'm expecting the worst from the guy.
Right, and you're right. You're right to expect that. And I think that it's going to get nasty. And Liz is actually better today than she's been for a while. I mean, the last 4 or 5 days she's been a bit of a basket case. And
it's not an easy time for her.
Yeah, it is. It's very hard. I mean, she's it's and therefore to an extent it's difficult for me too. But glad you're there. So
absolutely.
Like I was telling
you. And I am going to get those. Cases together. Those appellate decisions together, and get them and figure out a way to get them. Now, that's it's good reading. In point of fact, one of the cases is regarded as a Dickensian case. It's a 1906 Illinois Supreme Court case, Krieger versus Krieger, and you usually don't get entertained by reading legal decisions. This one's entertaining.
All right, well that sounds good. I'll
include that in the package.
All right.
We should take a break on Krieger and Krieger and have at least a laugh at the bizarreness of the. Well, I think it's a kind of a takeoff on Bleak House.
All right.
You'll enjoy it. I'll get them to you.
All right. And you can give them to me, I suppose, when we go up to Waukegan. Just let me know. I know you said you needed to check on the judges, so once you have a chance to, come up with a judge and so forth, we'll use that as the basis for the next step.
I will be up there tomorrow visiting with our clerks and arguing about dissipation of marital assets.
Right.
For
another client.
My wife who has done it to the tune of about $150,000. So it's a big bargaining chip to have on the table. So,
you mean this is for the client tomorrow?
Not for my client. I represent the husband. It's the wife who's been dissipating marital assets.
Oh, all right.
Like crazy. But
keep in mind the one other thing. I'll make this my final comment.
Okay.
Like I was telling you, from the tax side, apparently what Michael has done for a long time is he borrows money from the corporation and doesn't treat it as income.
Uh-huh.
So, and that's why I was saying, when you have an S corporation, first of all, even if there's a loan, it's still income somewhere. You can't just ignore it and forget about it.
I think it's the kind of thing that got Leona Helmsley in a lot of trouble.
Exactly.
That's what Leona Helmsley was doing. Yeah. It's done all the time. Instead of registering it down as income, they just run it off as an expense or some other fiction.
Right. So, and that's why when you talk about the cash, I mean, there's a lot of money, and that seems to be what he does. And
where is it?
Exactly. So
where is it? Is he reporting on his income tax returns? Is he reporting dividends or interest income?
No. Well, the interest income would be in the corporation, though. I think he's treating. My guess is he's treating.
So you haven't seen the corporation tax return.
Right, I've never seen any. What I think might have.
Okay.
Remember, I mentioned that apparently he visited here at the end of September when Liz was in New Mexico helping Scott move.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm wondering if maybe one of the reasons he came up here was to come and get those tax returns because he knew where they were. I just don't know.
They will be either he will produce them, or we will have the court order him to sign a release of them and send the release to the IRS, and that's not what we want, and it's certainly not what he wants. So we'll get the income tax returns.
All right. Well, that's
full and complete.
Can't wait. It'll be fun.
It'll be fun. Good reading for you. Very good reading.
Well,
Well, thank you, Edward. And I was going to say, tomorrow I'm around here, and I'd say probably 3:30, something like that. I ought to be out and away from court, and I'll be able to see what I can learn up there about the judges.
All right. I have two things to do tomorrow. One is going to be car follow-up, and the other is going to the airport tomorrow evening. But we should be able to get to this taken care of tomorrow, no problem.
We will.
So have a nice evening, and hopefully you weren't too sad about the Bears' performance yesterday.
No. Snatching defeat from the jaws of victory.
Yeah.
They were terrible. Well, listen, you and Liz have a terrific evening, and good luck with the car.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And have a nice evening, and we'll talk tomorrow.
Same to you. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thanks. Bye now.